Everyone, we are back for another episode of Too Long Didn't Watch, where it is time to finally talk about the EMEA teams here that qualified for PMWC. And Jason, first place team, Brute Force, we need to talk about them because what a surprise in that tournament, man. I did not expect them to take the trophy at the end.
I think people listening to this or watching this just kind of heard Brute Force first place. Didn't really expect that, but then again, neither did really all of us out there as well. Brute Force, I think one thing we're going to have to mention about them is there wasn't a lot of expectations for them to win this one. And this is another team who doesn't have a lot of experience when it comes to these big international events. If we're thinking about, obviously, PMWC down the line, I think this is a team that might struggle. However, could use it as a good learning experience and potentially have the chance to surprise and pull off an upset.
Yeah, and it's not like it's an easy region to perform well into, right? Like, you have a lot of tough competition here from EMEA, from Turkey, of course, and the Western European team / European team. So happy with Brute Force, especially Frieza. I'm hyped to see how he's going to be performing on the bigger stage of PUBG Mobile esports, so very excited about him in particular. Though looking on the other side here, looking at the Turkey teams, IWNRX, mostly Z-Wolf, Jason, like he was putting on an absolute show in that tournament. Z-Wolf is just amazing from start to finish, so this team is looking pretty good when it comes to performing in that event.
Yeah, I find it kind of weird that actually Z-Wolf's the one to stand out when I remember 2-3 years ago talking about Frozen as being like the next big superstar of the Turkish region. He was like 15 at the time and he had a lot of potential to grow and become a very big player, but maybe he's kind of used that experience for the last couple of years to be more of a backseat role within the team. But the thing is, the team is still extremely strong. They have everyone on the team who can frag out, I'd say, at any given moment. If we're talking about a complete team, I think this is maybe one of those in particular. Not to mention, they're going to be performing as not one of the star Turkish teams, right? We're expecting like your S2Gs to come out there, maybe your Regnum Karias. So a lot of pressure on their shoulders to perform, but hey, I think they can do it.
Yeah, I mean, talking about S2G here, Jason, we got to talk about also the team that kicked out S2G of PMWC in Team Spirit. Like, they are in this lobby, when you look at the players that are on the team, Kitsune, Nomi, Naomi, and Effect, this is the Avenger level threat, right, of EMEA, because they're just so good when it comes to fragging power individually, and together they're just really hard to deal with. So Team Spirit, I think people expected them to maybe win the whole thing. 5th place is a little bit of a lower result than people were looking forward to for this team. But every single one of these players here, Jason, have international experience. They've been able to perform well in international tournaments. So really, Team Spirit, I wouldn't put it against them to actually winning maybe the whole tournament if they can make it out of the survival stage. That is the point where they did qualify into.
I mean, for me, for their PMSL run was was Kitsune the problem in Gladiators? And clearly, he wasn't the problem. We gave him a lot of negative comments during shows that he wasn't, in-game leading the way they needed to see G Gladiators be in-game led to be successful. But it seems like with these 3 other players on his team, he's been able to perform extremely well with them. And more importantly, Nomi playing the off angle, which we see a lot more these days when it comes to PUBG Mobile esports. So I'm curious, can they make that work when it comes to PMWC like they were able to do in EMEA? There's only one way to find out because PMWC is still a few weeks away, but we still have one region we haven't covered yet. Which one's that, Max?
SEA.
So we'll see you then for SEA.